welcome guys to another episode of the Level X Podcast. It is finally here, Thursday, June, I don't even know.
June 9th.
June 9th. But as always, my name is David, the one and only.
My name is Jesus.
And today we have a very slow podcast for you guys today, man. I'm just playing. We're going to go in this jamming hard. Jesus, what do we have in store for today?
A lot.
All right, and before we get into all that, let us know who is sponsoring this podcast today.
This episode will be sponsored by Instant Web Celeb. Instant Web Celeb has been assisting to revolutionize the online social world and has helped countless customers rank higher in status and fame across multiple platforms. Optimize and market your social media page today with Instant Web Celeb. That means more likes, more followers, more engagement on all your social media pages. Use coupon code LVLX for a 10% discount. Thank you so much to Instant Web Celeb. Go follow them on Instagram and on Facebook.
Now, before we start this off, man, I want to say, how you feeling today, man? I feel great. You know, I just ate my oatmeal. I'm about to hit that cold shower after this. But, you know, how are you feeling, man? Because everyone wants to know that you've been off lately, and we want to know your health.
I'm feeling all right, man. It's been I've been really busy this past week, so I haven't really had time to worry about my happiness. but I'm good. I'm ready to go today, man. Let's get it popping.
All right. So what book are we discussing today for you, man?
Sad news
Sad news what?
Because for the first time in 9 weeks, David, I don't have a book to discuss on the
Level X.
Kidding me? No, this is not a joke. I wish it was, but. David, I don't have a book to discuss this week, man. Please come through with the salvation.
Of course. So I am reading a book, but we're not going to be discussing my book this week because I didn't want to rush it. And, you know, I don't like rushing my book summaries, man.
And same here, man. I mean, I have a small book that I am...
but you're not... That's not the book you're going to read,
shut up, man. I have a small book that I currently have right now, but I didn't have time to thoroughly read it, so I don't want to give you guys any shitty content as well. So... that's why I decided not to talk about the book, but I am reading a book as well.
All right, well, I am going to be discussing my book next week, so be in store for that.
What book is that?
Now, I'm not going to spoil it,
right.
but I am going to say that book that I'm reading currently, or the book that I'm reading currently, man, it's seriously probably one of the best books I have ever read, and it's probably going to make my top 5 books of all time. So next week, guys, you guys are going to be in for a treat. But... without further ado, since we're not going to be discussing books, we are actually going to be discussing articles today. Now, these articles, when I discuss articles or when I choose articles to talk about, I want them to be as knowledgeable or as, you know, empowering as the books that I read. So all these articles are going to teach you a few things that you guys can implement in your life or maybe, you know, talk about to colleagues or friends. So they're very cool articles at the end of the day. What about you, man? I'm going to be discussing articles, a couple topics here and there, but what are you going to be discussing about? Because that's what's important here.
I got like 2 articles that I picked up.
Without further ado, guys, the first article of this week. Now, I don't know if you guys follow our Twitter account, but if you guys don't, let me give that, you know, social plug there. Follow us on our Twitter account, guys. That's where you're going to get the most knowledge from us throughout the week, and that is the LevelXPodcast. It's actually LevelXPodcast. I don't know why I said the Level X. But it's LevelXPodcast, all spelled out, LEVELX, and then podcast. Like I said, you guys should follow us on there. We post daily, all types of shit, basically. I don't know if you guys follow us, but we actually, you know, hinted that we were actually going to be talking about this article, because I ran across this article yesterday, and I was like, dude, we need to discuss this. Now, the article is basically, the title of the article is Economists Show That Boys Who Grow Up Around Books Earn Significantly More Money as Adults. Now, basically, the study is that they gathered all this type of data from all types of countries, all types of boys, all types of social, economic backgrounds, basically all this type of information, and they found out that while if the boys started school at a later age, you know, because of those like you have to be born between these type of months and that whatever. So if they're held back 1 year, you're gonna earn 9% more when you're an adult. Maybe that's because you're a little bit older. But it shows actually that the most empowering thing is that if as a young kid you're around more books than average, you're gonna be actually earning about a little bit over 20% more as an adult compared to people that don't, or kids that didn't grow up with books around them. Now, before I tell you as to what this study showed, I want to know your take on that. Like, what do you take from that, from just saying those two facts right there?
First of all, I'm always skeptical about these studies, so I obviously need to read this article myself because I don't know what kind of research went into this. But for me, obviously, it's going to be quite simple. The more you know, the more you'll be able to implement all the knowledge you've learned through those books towards your career. I don't know where I read this, but I read that employers really love it when their employees learn new skill sets. They're kind of self-taught these skills that they can implement into their jobs, that the employers actually appreciate that. Thus, those employees that are teaching themselves new skills, they get more raises, they get promoted more often. So, I mean, obviously, kids who have more knowledge going into their careers, not kids, I guess, well, you can say now they're adults. Kids who read at an early age transform into adults who read also. So those adults will have more knowledge going into the employment field or whatever. So, I mean, it correlates well.
You didn't hit it right on the head, but you were close. Basically, what this study showed was that basically they showed if they have more than 10 books, right? So if they have like more than 10 books around their home, or when they when they're kind of growing up, it shows that either the home likes that the kids read or whatever, so they promote learning in their home. It also shows that books actually teach you something, besides the average because there's like a study that showed that books show empathy or whatever, or teach you empathy, but it also shows like ambition per se. But I thought it was really interesting because as someone that, I don't know if we actually had books when we were growing up, man, but I know like now that we love books a lot. I know that in our home, I wouldn't be able to see a home that doesn't promote or doesn't advocate for book reading or whatever you might say. Or what do you think?
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't think I actually got into reading. Like, I don't think I ever. I think I saw these papers where it was like I was reading 30 minutes a day back in like first grade or second grade, but I don't know if that was true. I probably just made my parents sign that bitch and say, oh yeah, I saw him read or whatever. But I know I actually didn't really love a book until fourth grade, and that was the Series of Unfortunate Events.
Fourth grade, yeah.
Yeah, so that was fourth grade for me. So I don't know how reading came about for us, but I definitely know that ever since I started reading like intensely, like on a weekly, daily basis, which was just this past year, I've seen a significant improvement in myself. So I can definitely see how reading can benefit you. But as far as the people who don't do it, I mean, obviously they're gonna be watching TV. I know people watch Netflix and shit, but I also don't see how they can do that. Like, I don't see how they can benefit from Netflix the same way they can benefit from books. So I don't know. I don't know their mental state. It's kind of weird.
I follow this dude, and he basically tweeted out how and the average person justifies spending like $80 to $100 a month for cable TV.
Yeah.
But they can't justify spending like $20 for a month's worth of books. Mm-hmm. And I think that goes to show you like people's mentalities, like such a difference is that you rather spend $100 on like reality television, but you can't spend $20 on like your knowledge or improving yourself. Because at the end of the day, there's an article that I read that I'll probably link you to it. Mm-hmm. That shows kind of like a $10 book or a $20 book is like $10,000 worth of value.
Well, yeah, man.
In some cases,
sometimes the knowledge you get from books, like I said last week, it's priceless, man. You can't put a price tag on the benefits that can come from just one great book. But I was gonna say, when you started reading, man, you obviously started with fiction. We didn't get into self-improvement books till the past year.
Yeah.
But do you have like a clear favorite? Do you favor self-help or like basically non-fiction books to fiction books? Because I know there's benefits for both, but do you think fiction books help more with like imagination and creativity, and non-fiction books help more with like discipline and like kind of discipline and stuff like that?
It's kind of cool that you brought that up, because I haven't read like a fiction book. I don't know, man. Like in a couple years, like all this entire year, I've been spending on reading nonfiction. So I kind of fell in love with the nonfiction genre. But you know, like from the beginning, you said that you started reading, you know, when you were like, or you fell in love with reading back in 4th grade. I think I fell in love with reading around the same time, and from there it was just pure fiction books, you know. And in high school or in middle school, that's all teachers promote, you know. Hey, read fiction book, read this book.
Yeah.
And they never say, hey, read like a self-improvement book or read this type of book, it'll change your life, or read a mentality book or whatever. They never promote those types of books. They only promote fiction type of books, which I don't understand.
Well, I have a theory on that, but continue.
But what I'm saying is that back when I started reading, the fiction genre is what kind of brought me to love reading. And now that I got back to reading, the nonfiction genre brought me back to loving reading once again.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard for me to say which one I prefer, but right now, currently, I do prefer nonfiction. But I think if I would go back to reading fiction, I think I would definitely see a different side of those fiction books compared to when I was reading them when I was, you know, younger or whatever. But yeah, man, I think it's crucial. I think each type of genre teaches you different things. I think with fiction books, it has a whole bunch of knowledge, but it isn't literal knowledge.
Well, it's not like obvious. You have to kind of look. You kind of have to analyze it yourself and take stuff from it.
And with nonfiction books, it's kind of similar as to where you have to kind of like dive into the knowledge, but it's just right in front of you too. It's not like you have to necessarily hide and seek type of shit.
Right, and that's what a lot of, like, I think fiction books deal with. They deal with more like concepts and stuff where you actually have to analyze it. They do like themes and fucking metaphors and all this stuff. But yeah, self-help or nonfiction is very direct and it's very applicable to your life. So for that article that David talked about, we will post it on.
Well, it's already linked.
Oh, it's already linked on LevelXPodcast?
Yeah, remember, I just said it earlier that I linked it yesterday.
Oh, right, because you said we're going to talk about this. I'm sorry, guys. I've been a mess this past week. I'm off the Hennessy, as Drake said. But man, let's go into one of my articles because
I thought you didn't have no articles, man.
I said I had 2 articles earlier. Pay attention, keep up.
I wasn't paying attention, but I thought we were going on for mine only.
I got too much drive. I need 10 lanes.
Don't bring up this Larry Page shit, man.
This Larry Page, man, because we read The Search 2 weeks ago, and this can't be a coincidence that Larry Page is now on the news.
So you're saying that this guy listens to our podcast? That's what you're saying,
bro? Imagine if Larry Page did listen to our podcast. That'd be amazing. Maybe give us a little quick shout out, Larry, on that Twitter account if you have one. I don't know. Does Larry Page have a Twitter account? I don't know. Didn't Google try to buy Twitter or something like that, and then Twitter denied him? Damn, Larry. So, news came out this morning that Larry Page is investing into these small startups that have designs for a flying vehicle. So, it's a flying car. The future is here, guys. So, it appears that Larry Page has been personally funding a pair of startups devoted to creating flying cars. And he actually funded more than $100 million since its creation to a company named Aero or something like that. So I guess Larry's into flying cars now, man, and it's pretty cool because in this article that I'm currently reading that I'll link on the LevelXPodcast Twitter account, it has the designs for the flying car. This thing looks like a freaking airplane, but
see that's what I didn't like about it. Like it doesn't seem like a sci-fi type of car where, you know,
it doesn't look like an actual,
like, I don't know, I'm in my head I'm seeing like a DeLorean, you know, that could fly, but this one looks kind of just like a whack, like a straight up not necessarily airplane, but a semi kind of like smaller airplane with just wheels at the bottom, which is kind of whack to me. But like I know, I don't know if you mentioned, but yeah, he did definitely invest into 2 startups, which is kind of cool. I don't know if they're like competitors or whatever, but I don't know what was finish up the article, man, or what was the take on this or what?
To end it off, it is saying that it's these flying cars are built for personal use. I don't know how they're gonna actually implement this into the real world. But as far as this goes, man, this just proves that technology is moving at a rapid pace, and that stuff that we actually thought of, you know, as sci-fi back in like the 70s with like flying cars, or even, you know, with fucking Back to the Future, it's actually becoming a reality. So I wanted to know, how far do you think we're away from like Back to the Future kind of future?
I'd say. Well, what do you mean by Back to the Future type of future?
Because in Back to the Future Part 2, they all have the power up. They have the fucking self-tying laces from the Nikes.
Oh, we already have that.
We already have that. They have the hoverboards, which we somewhat have that. And now apparently we're designing a flying car, which it's obviously going according to the plan.
Well,
so how far do you think we're away from that kind of future?
I don't know. Like, I mean, self-driving cars are going to be here, I don't know, like 5-10 years or whatever. So I'm assuming 5-10 years we'll have like a prototype flying car. I thought there was already a car that turns into a jet type of shit.
I don't know about that. That'd be pretty cool. I kind of want to see a video of that.
But the thing that was interesting to me was, I wonder who tests this flying car prototype, because it does show that, you know, they do test these at an airport like 10 miles from like the Google headquarters in California. So I'm assuming, like, I wonder who tests them, or if they're like self testing, or what the fuck is this?
I don't know if they're actually, I don't know, man. That's kind of cool to think about, that they're actually testing this stuff out. But what if someone fails and just fucking blows up?
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, who's actually testing this? Like, interns or what the fuck?
Yeah, they're probably just hiring a bunch of like random bums off the street, just people you never hear about and stuff.
Or, you know, or who tests? Because I think there's like history fact. Maybe it's a fucking lie. I don't know. But I think I read somewhere that, you know, the first person that tested out like the very first thing, like when they were trying to create their airplane, they had this contraption where this guy was creating something where you can fly, right? So he kind of created some metal as wings, and he jumped off a cliff to try to fly. And he flew for like, I don't know, like 3 seconds, but it wasn't even flying. It was more like gliding, you can say, through the air. And that dude just fucking died.
Oh man.
Maybe that's some.
That reminds me of that video I don't know if you tweeted it out on your personal page, but the gliding people, like.
Oh yeah.
That thing was wicked, man. The people who like they're basically in these like little
squirrel flying
suits, and they just kind of
flying squirrel backwards.
Yeah, they just jump off of cliffs and freaking fly in the air, well, glide in the air, but with no safety harness or no parachute or nothing.
But you know, that's the risk. If you fail, you didn't. They ain't coming back.
Yeah, that ain't no like, well, I have multiple tries at this. It's one try. It's do or die at that point, man. That's crazy.
It's kind of like testing these prototypes, because I don't know, man. I with all types of like new shit that I find out, I always see like the bad side of shit. So with the squirrel flying, I seen people fail.
Oh yeah.
With those, like, talking about that car that turns into submarine, like I saw deaths where the people inside the cars, well, because I ran across this article, right, where it said, oh, this is the last picture taken from this guy that vanished in a flash flood.
Oh, are you looking at those top 5 videos, man? Because they always have those kinds of crazy
do they?
pictures.
But anyways, there was this picture, and this was like, I don't know, like 6 months, like not even 6 months ago, probably like 2 months ago, bro.
Yeah.
And I guess out there in Texas, this kid tweeted out a picture of him, and it just shows, I think, his legs, and it just shows a picture of his, like, inside the car, of the windshield. I mean, yeah, like the front windshield and all and everything, and the steering wheel, but like a big ass wave coming on top of the car.
Shit.
And then that was the last picture, and then after that they couldn't find him, so everyone was saying, oh, well, this guy probably died. So then after that I started researching deaths that happen like that, where the person's inside the car and they get overtaken by like ocean.
Yeah.
So then after that I started finding out more information on how to escape your car if it's underwater or whatever. So at least, you know, you learn something new.
Well, how do you do it?
Well, how would you do it?
Well, I'd probably just try to open the door or something. Well,
see, like if your car's not fully indulged in water, maybe I used that word correctly, hopefully. If it's not basically all underwater, you can't open the door, because it's the pressure, something about the pressure, it being not balanced, that it's too much pressure, so you're not going to be able to open the door.
Oh man, so at that point it doesn't seem like I have enough force, but I probably try to break a window.
Yeah, well, that's like your next option. Breaking a window, if you have enough force to break it.
Yeah, and at that point, if I can't seem to break a window, last resort would probably be
because mind you, once the car is going under, like the water, there's gonna be water going inside the car too already.
Yeah.
All right.
At that point, I probably. Damn, I don't know. You know what? I give up. How do you do it?
Well, it's crazy because there's this surveillance camera of this lady that it was like a flash flood, right, bro? And you know that tunnel when we go to the tent, and it's well, think of it like that, but there's like underneath one, right?
Okay.
So this lady, I think there was like barriers, like, hey, don't go through here. But I guess that lady just went through there still, and then there was like already a flood, like there was already kind of like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was flooded already.
It was kind of getting flooded. There was like already a pool, and it was rising. So she went forward, and she was going too fast that when she tried stopping, it kind of...
She crashed to the water.
She crashed into the water, but then the water kind of took her with her. Oh, shit. And then she went like... It was already... Sinking. And all you see... Basically, since it's a surveillance camera, you don't see it from the inside, but you see it from the outside, and all you see is like the car going down, and all of a sudden, like a fucking, it looks like she's trying to open the door, but obviously, like I said, the pressure, and also so towards the end, it kind of, you just see like a fucking, like a phone flashing like inside the car, like some like
help me,
like not it was her phone like flashlight just going like this inside, and then all of a sudden she just goes down underneath. But it's like a surveillance camera, but it's like a fast forward, so it shows like the numbers on the bottom left, and just like fast forwarding.
So it's happening like in fast.
Yeah. So you see that the ship, it shows that the car goes underneath the water.
Is there a follow up to the story? Did she die?
Yeah, well, she died. She was like 24 or something.
Well, I thought this was gonna be the story of how you escaped.
No. It was someone that tried doing your maneuver, but she couldn't do it.
Yeah, she failed. Lastly, for the article, man, it's just cool seeing that Larry Page is actually a pretty prominent person in the technology field that's actually funding these projects. Because you always hear, well, future cars are coming, but you never really have a name attached to those projects, and you never know who's funding them. Also, like, what are they only getting like $5,000?
Well, do you think it's big news because Larry Page's name is attached to it, or do you think it would still be as popping if it was like some other unknown guy?
No, it's definitely popping because of Larry Page and also the amount that he's invested. So you can see that he truly believes in those designs.
Now, do you think it's actually like cars? Now, is it a personal project, you think, or is it just like, all right, we're actually dedicated to this, like, because it was invested personally by him, not by Google?
No, it's just him believing in it. I think he actually thinks that it's possible. So I mean, he's not investing like only a million. I think it said 100 million.
Yeah,
so that's
over 10 years. So
that's some serious. That's still some serious cash, man. That's not like this is just some personal stuff. This is something that he wants to like bring out to the world.
Not to George W. Bush, is not.
Okay.
But back to before we jump to the next article. Basically, there's 3 ways to exit out of a car. All right. Yeah. First thing is basically to allow the water to fully swallow the entire car, because once it's underwater, there's like even pressure, so you can open the door once it's underwater. Okay. So basically, you're gonna have to hold your breath for a while.
Not good at that.
You're gonna not necessarily a while, like not like fucking like 10 minutes or some shit, but just when you know it's gonna go down and then the water inside your car is going up too. Yeah. Like just know that, all right, hold my breath enough time until it's fully engulfed everything. Yeah. And then that's when you can open the door. Now that's a risky try because if it's your first time, people panic in those situations. So if you panic, then you're screwed basically. Because then what if it doesn't want to open, then you're fucked. Yeah. But the second one is that if you are trying to break a window, from what I heard or from what I read, is try to open the try to break the back window, because that's the weakest one according to what I read. Okay. Maybe it's wrong, maybe it's not, I don't know. I'm not going to try to verify that either. So just try the back window. There's two other ones. One is that there's this guy, he's like, oh, he always keeps his either in his glove compartment, like this gun, which is
good. That's a smart choice.
You just shoot out the window, so that's easy. It's a good option. Or there's this type of tool that you buy. I wish I had some type of link to it. Maybe we will link you guys to we'll find it on our Twitter page. But there's this tool that people use to basically break the window easily. Or the last thing is that you can use your headrest. If you didn't know, you know how you guys can take off your headrest from your car?
Yeah.
From your seat? Well, you can use that to break the window. And there's this cool ass video that shows this demonstrating in real time of a car going under the water.
Shit.
And there's like actual footage inside the car of this girl, this small Asian chick doing it. So it's pretty cool. And I'll link you guys to that.
Shout out to the car factories, giving us such a handy tool.
Well, I think it was like the thing is that some guys like, yeah, I don't want to try this because my headrest doesn't come off.
Oh yeah, I don't think mine does either. But I might be wrong. I've never tried it.
Yeah, so those are the 4 or 5 ways to get out of a car if it's sinking, so you guys can survive. But yeah, man.
Only here on the LevelX podcast.
Only here on the LevelX podcast. But talking about cars, there's this new article, man, and I love it because if you know me, man, I'm a big nerd when it comes to science, when it comes to everything, when it comes to the one and then only Elon Musk. But news article came out that Tesla knocked out Volkswagen out of the top 10 car brands. So Tesla is now valued at $4.4 billion. Now I want to know your take on this because this is historic, man. This is historic because if you don't know, Tesla, it's one of the newest car companies out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not easy to go into the car industry if you didn't know. It's not fucking easy. And it's that this guy's knocking out established traditional brands and, with just pure electric cars. Exactly. So, I want to know your take on this. Like, is this the future? Is electric cars the future? Or what do you think this says about the way we're going,
You can't overstate how important this moment is, man, because Tesla wasn't the first, or maybe I'm wrong, but I'm assuming it wasn't the first all-electric car. There was more out there. And if not, it is the first full electric. There was definitely...
I think it's a full electric, but there has been, before, hybrid.
There was hybrid cars, and I know, for example, Prius, they're not really that popular amongst consumers, but Tesla...
Prius are, popping, but the thing is that they're not...
They're not top 10 material, right?
Well, they're really popping, but what I'm saying is that the thing is that a lot of these companies do have electric cars, right? But the thing is that I think what separates Tesla compared to these electric cars is the look, and the design of the damn cars.
That's what I was gonna say, man. It's stylish. It's stylish, but it's also, what is it getting? The Tesla 3 is getting. It's saying that it's getting 130 to the mileage or whatever, per.
Let me bring it up.
Something a crazy number per charge, but the fact that it's now in the top 10 most valued car brands, that's insane, man. Because like you earlier said, it is showing that Tesla or electric vehicles are the way of the future, which is not only good for the environment, but it's also good for the consumer because Tesla...
More than 200 miles per charge.
More than 200 miles per charge. Dude, think about how much consumers can save. And I don't know if they charge for those electric stations.
Yeah, well, new study shows there was a new article. New studies shows. There was actually a new article, my fault. There was a new article 2 weeks ago that said that Tesla is actually going to start charging for people to use their charging stations.
Those sons of bitches. It makes sense, though. It makes sense.
Dude, the amount of pre-orders and all this shit.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways,
so people were a little bit upset about that, but Elon was like, "Oh, it
makes business sense." Yeah. But I mean, either way, I'm assuming Elon's a pretty good guy. I don't know if it's gonna be expensive to charge. I hope not. But
I doubt it.
Either way, if I had the choice, I would probably buy a Tesla myself.
Yeah, if you had the money.
If I had the money, but just the fact that for now you get free charges, you get all this mileage to the charge, man, and then combine that with like the way technology is heading in like self-driving cars, we're gonna be really well off vehicle wise, man. Like we're gonna get a shit ton of mileage to the car. We're gonna have cars that we don't even have to drive anymore. Like this is the way of the future.
The future is dope.
The future is looking bright for us.
Now, before we end this, or I don't know, well, this is the last segment
Article.
to my articles, because it's cool how we started, from knowledge about books, the old style. And on that article, it does say that books still bring a big amount of value in today's world. So, FYI. But it's cool how, we jump from books. From there, we jump a little bit to the future in fucking flying cars or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there into the electric cars that we see today.
Into survival tactics, man.
To survival tactics, man. All types of shit. All what do the how do you translate?
Damn.
All kinds.
Something, right? All kinds of something. Damn, I haven't seen those guys in a while.
Anyways. But I want to bring this, and I think this is an important topic because today Vice actually brought up a dope video about surveillance and then how today's surveillance is. And I tweeted it out with both of our... You guys can find it at the LevelXPodcast. But it basically is titled State of Surveillance with Edward Snowden and Shane Smith. Guys, this episode is fucking nuts. Not necessarily nuts, but I recommend it. You watch it. It's like 20-25 minutes. And guys, it's really good. But basically, I'm going to submit it for you. It's basically, if you don't know, Edward Snowden, he released those documents about the NSA, about how the government is spying on their citizens. But basically this guy, this reporter, journalist, he goes to Russia where Edward Snowden is, and he basically interviews him, and Edward Snowden basically tells him what the NSA is doing, and then he even there's like a part where they show basically how a guy can hack this reporter's phone. And it's crazy, man, because this technology that they're saying that it's basically out there. Like there's these conferences or there's these events where basically agencies or any type of government agency, or I think even to the public, they can go and they can buy these types of new software or these new things that these private companies are creating.
Yeah.
And then they even test one of these applications out on someone's phone. And dude, you can hack the microphone, you can hack the camera, you can record, you can check out their phone calls, their text messages, their web history. And then the craziest thing is that there's a part where Edward Snowden goes like, or the reporter asks him, well, how does someone know if they're being hacked? And then Edward Snowden says, well, the craziest thing is that if you wanted to know if you've been hacked, there's no way of you finding out.
Damn. So they move like...
So basically, Edward Snowden also says that the NSA basically is doing this still, and it's basically able to hack either your phone or your laptop or any of your devices if they wanted to, whenever they want.
Damn, real G's moving silence like lasagna, man. I don't know if it's the same thing, but I watched this little TED Talk where it's like, when you go to McDonald's and they have free Wi-Fi, so you hook up to like the McDonald's Wi-Fi. Well, there's these things where these people, let's say someone lives near McDonald's, they can actually create their own little internet connection and do it for free, and also just copy. I don't know if they can copy word for word, but they also put their name like McDonald's Wi-Fi or something like that. So if you hook up to their network and let's say you browse the web and you make like a purchase online, your credit card information will be saved onto that person's network, and they can steal your credit card information like that.
Well, it doesn't sound too
similar.
No, it's definitely not similar at all. But it does bring up this type of technology that you can buy at Amazon, where basically it acts like a cell phone tower. So basically, and it explains it on the video more thoroughly. But basically, the way cell phones work is that whenever they need to call or to text or whatever, they first send the signal to like the cell phone company towers, and they're like, "Hey, are you there? If you are, can I use your service or whatever?"
Yeah.
Well, then these machines act as like fake cell phone towers, and then they send the signal louder. So let's just say you're trying to get in contact with the cell phone tower, your phone is. Instead of reaching the cell phone tower, it reaches this fake cell phone tower.
Yeah.
And then this fake cell phone tower is like, oh yeah, I'm your service.
Fuck.
So then it acts as like your service. So that's why it's able to track like your messages, your phone number, your coordination, like your GPS.
Damn.
Basically, even if you have that shit on or whatever, or even if you have that off, they can activate it. Even if you have GPS off, they can locate you by being able to see, oh, what's the closest access point or whatever, or the route, what's the closest router that he's using for the internet. So they can track you. Yeah, dude. So it's fucking crazy.
And Amazon sells this?
Yeah, and you can buy it like an Amazon. Right? So there's basically the technology's there, but they did a report on this and they said, well, how many terrorist attacks? Because people are saying that they're doing this for safety terrorists, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that Edward Snowden said that there was 2 reports that investigated on this. Like, well, let's see the data behind this. Like, how many terrorist attacks did this actually solve? And they found out that it actually didn't solve any terrorist attacks. It didn't like prevent any terrorist attacks from happening. But they still happen, right? Because like the Boston bombing, the San Bernardino shooter, whatever. But the thing is that these 2 companies were like, hey, you guys should shut this down. Like, there's no point. But the thing is that all these politicians, they don't want to be the ones saying, all right, we're going to shut this down, because deep down they know that eventually there's going to be another terrorist attack. And if they shut down this,
they're going to be like, oh,
blame for it.
Yeah, well, we could have used this to...
Yeah. But at the end of the day, they're only prey to that, because they know that, well, if I shut this down, I might be held liable. The other politician, the politician that's running against them is going to be like, well, look, it's your fault.
Yeah.
So there was something that says that's why.
So at any moment, you could possibly be hacked and not even know about it.
Exactly.
Damn. See, that's the kind of shit that keeps me up at night, man.
So after this, we should watch it.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely watch that, and we'll definitely post it on, of course, LevelXPodcast Twitter
I don't know, man,
account.
but what's your thoughts on this? Because Edward Snowden, like at the end, he just says, "Well, everyone just wants to kind of like let's forget about that, like for now, because it's not."
Yeah, well, people don't care about anything until it happens to them.
The thing is that he's saying that it's inevitable that we're actually going to be talking about this, because we're going into a world where everything is, technology. Like we're fingerprinting everything. Like everything's turning into like some type of big database, some type of big connected as world.
Yeah.
So he says that eventually we are going to have to talk about this. That sooner or later we're going to get there's going to be even more technology in our lives, that eventually this is actually going to be something that we're going to talk about, and he's looking forward to it, I think. So what are your thoughts on this, man?
Man, it just
like surveillance, privacy, all this shit.
Well, just on a side note, I feel like this relates so much. Huh? What'd you say?
No.
Okay. I feel like this relates so much to like the whole, and I'm not like no fucking activist or nothing, but this relates to like those environment issues that we have currently with like the melting ice caps and the freaking ozone layer and all that global warming crap. I say crap, but it's a problem or whatever, and just me saying crap goes to show how much I personally, and I feel like the society in general, kind of brushes that aside. People realize that it's an issue, but it's not like something that's currently like affecting us, at least not to a grand scale. That's why they brush it off so much. But eventually it's gonna get to a point where, I read this little article or whatever, I didn't really read it, but I kind of scanned through it, and it says how there's gonna be these major floods and all these species of animals are gonna just go extinct. And I think at that point, like this, for example, like this surveillance issue, it's gonna have to get brought up. And for instance, in this case for surveillance, but also in the instance for environmental, by the time it gets brought up, it might be a little bit too late to prevent any major damage from happening. So moving back into this, man, it's crazy because, first of all, because you might not even know that it's happening to you, so you might get all your shit stolen. And
Well, the thing
I
is
don't
that
want
what's
my
crazy-
identity stolen, man. That
and
shit's
what-
kind of scary.
And what's crazy is that anyone could do this. You know, anyone can basically, if you know how to.
Yeah.
Basically, anyone
Which
can
I'm
spy
sure
on
it's
anyone.
not. Which I'm sure it's not even like that hard to do. Just one Google search away, like, oh, how to do this.
How do you spy on someone?
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's scary, but I mean,
So maybe in you know, in a year or two, or maybe like in 6 months, we're actually gonna do an experiment on how to go black on the internet.
Oh,
By that I mean basically be
Non-traceable,
anonymous.
yeah.
Yeah.
How do you sound like you're all fucking
What?
ready for this?
I'm not.
Like
Anyways,
you're preparing for this shit.
with that said, go check out the video, as well as go check out the Snowden movie that's gonna be coming
Oh,
out.
that movie looks pretty good, man.
So
Joseph
it's
Gordon-Levitt.
gonna be in theaters September 16th. The movie Snowden. I know it sounds like advertising and shit, but nah. I care for the activists.
If you want some advertising, go check out advancedscreenings.com for all your
Shut the fuck up.
advanced free screenings for upcoming blockbusters, indie films, just any big movies that's coming out. They probably have it. They might not have it in your city, but they definitely have movies that are coming to your city for free, advanced. So me and David actually saw The Conjuring 2 this past Monday. David, what do you have to say about The Conjuring 2?
Scary ass motherfucking shit. Nah, man. Conjuring 2, man. Fucking go see that movie this weekend. See it tonight. See it tonight, man. See it
It's
tonight.
Thursday. It's Thursday.
Yeah. See it tonight, guys. That shit is pretty popping. I definitely recommend it. I can't say much about it.
Were you scared?
Yeah, I was scared, man. Come
So-
on. That is kind of like that. It's kind of scary. Like, it's not jump scares. It's that like psychological type of scares.
I haven't been that scared since like Paranormal Activity 3, I think,
Really?
with the little girls.
I don't know.
It was that point of scary where you're like, man, I just want this shit to like kind of like, at least for the scary scenes, you just kind of want that shit to be done with. Like, all right, just fucking scare me already.
Dude, there was a point where
I'm tired of fucking waiting.
You know what?
Like you just get so fucking anxious during some parts.
You know, I don't know if it was because we were like sitting a little bit too close or some
Yeah.
shit, but there was like a point where there was just so much. I felt like a little bit too anxiety.
Yeah.
That I was like, man, fuck this shit. I kind of want to get the hell out
Yeah,
of here.
I had that sense too. Like, oh man, I don't even want to watch this movie no more.
Yeah.
I'd rather fucking go out and get some ice cream or something bullshit.
Yeah, but that basically says, man, they did a good job with this film. I highly recommend it. There's some like fucking. Remember, I told you yesterday that it was a little confusing at the end.
Oh
kinda?
yeah, like there were some plot holes or whatever.
Yeah, that didn't make sense to me, but overall, it was a great movie. You're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, just don't. Some of the parts do get kind of weird. Just don't really think about it. But moving away from the movie, because the movie's good, go watch it. And we on our Level X pod, we advertise our Twitter account so much, but on the Twitter account we gave the movie a B+. Go follow us on the Twitter account. But I wanted to know your thoughts, David, because people don't know if like the real case was legit. They think it was a hoax or whatever, that the girls made it up. But I'm not really gonna ask you, oh, do you think if that case was true? I just want to know
sounds
if you
like you're
believe
asking me that.
in ghosts in general.
It sounds like you're asking me that, homie.
Well, do you think ghosts are real in general? Do you believe in ghosts?
Nah, not necessarily, but I do believe in the paranormal, if that makes sense.
What does the paranormal mean to you?
Like, I believe that there's like a whole side of the world that we don't really know.
Like a different dimension in a way, or
Yeah, like paranormal, as in like there's not necessarily witches, but like witchcraft shit, like devilish shit, or like the paranormal. Like,
oh, okay. So like
sacrifices and all this shit.
so there's like there's like this force that we can kind of.
There's a negative force and there's positive force type of shit.
I think I know what you're trying to say. So you can kind of access those, like you can kind of release that kind of those forces, or what do you mean? Like,
Yeah, like there's meaning that there's like a different types of field, or like that we don't really can contact. Well, we can contact that field, but there's there's something out there that there's no way of us kind of like testing out. You can say, like with science and shit.
Oh, so it's something
By
just
paranormal.
It's just something that's in nature that can't really be like studied or whatever.
Yeah, type of shit. Meaning like there's probably like maybe an entire dimension or some shit.
That we just can't access.
Yeah.
Because even at the showing, there was these two, like, I don't know what they call themselves, but to me they're just like Ghostbusters. They go around
come on, man.
studying
man.
ghosts and stuff.
Yeah, so you're gonna call them like that?
It's no disrespect to them. Okay, well,
Ghostbusters.
They're paranormal investigators.
Yeah, what the
so they investigate the paranormal. What intrigues me is like,
but if you don't believe in them, then why? When I told you let's go, they're doing that show where they're gonna go study a haunted house.
No. You said, oh, go.
Would you
like,
go with them?
That's what you asked me. Why would I go with them? Like that shit's.
Because I thought you I
never answered if I believe it or not.
What do you?
No, I don't believe in ghosts. I don't think ghosts are real. But maybe that's just what I tell myself so I can fall asleep at night. Because I sleep alone, and then sometimes this room gets a little dark. But I mean, they could be real, but I guess I can't say it because I never seen it myself. But if it was real, I wouldn't want to put myself in that situation. But what I'm curious to see is like.
So go with them.
No, what I'm curious to see is how they see the world. Like, do they see ghosts like everywhere? Like, do they? Because I'm sure they believe in it. Like, they truly believe in it. Like, they know it's real. Without a shadow of a doubt, they know that something paranormal, like the paranormal, is real. I just kind of want to
dissect their mind.
Yeah, like jump into their mind and kind of see stuff from their perspective. Like, how I wonder how it feels to know for sure that the paranormal is real, and like if they can like sense paranormal shit, and like it's just that kind of stuff intrigues me. But I don't know if it's because I've been watching those top 5 videos.
Huh?
Those top 5 videos, like the top 10 most paranormal. Well, I've been top 5. Yeah, I've been watching those for like the past week, and
what the fuck?
Just a lot of crazy shit that sometimes can't be explained. So you kind of really got to ask yourself, maybe there is something more.
So I don't get it. So you're saying you don't believe in them, but you don't want to go with them to go check them out.
I just wouldn't want to get like possessed or anything like that. Like, what if I get proven wrong and the demon sees me as a weakling or whatever, and they're like, oh, well, let's get this guy. Let's jump inside of this guy or whatever. Right. I'm protecting you, bro. What if like I bring the entity back to our house and then I fucking terrorize you and shit?
Yeah, you're right.
But because I was actually like, sometimes at night the fear keeps me up at night. I sometimes have trouble falling asleep. So I always feel like maybe, oh shit, something's watching me right now. And then I get a little afraid and I start thinking, oh, well, they kind of feed off of fear. According to the movies, they feed off of fear. So I'm always trying to like convince myself that I'm not afraid and shit. So I'm just like, I'm just in my mind praying to fall asleep. And I'm like, oh, just let me fall asleep already, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be afraid anymore, because then they'll sense that and they'll fucking come after me.
Yeah.
But moving away from that, because we're running out of time here, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to this YouTube channel that I actually found recently called KaptainKristian. This guy.
What's up with Captain?
Oh, KaptainKristian. First of all, like, his editing skills are top notch, man. I've never seen, because there's this whole community on YouTube that deals with like video essays and shit like that.
Paranormal shit?
No, not paranormal shit. Just video essays.
I thought you were still on the topic of paranormal.
No, fuck all that. I don't want to talk about paranormal anymore.
That's right then. I'm out of here.
Okay, well, no. Well, stay please. I just want to say, KaptainKristian, man, you should definitely check out his channel.
I will. I will.
Just the editing is on point, and I wanted to talk about specifically a video he did on Adult Swim, because like I said, he's a video essay guy. So video essay people, they kind of,
what do they do?
Talk about a certain topic, and then they kind of go through. Well,
dive into it.
They dive into it. They dissect it. They analyze it or whatever.
That's cool.
So KaptainKristian, his is a little different because he talks more about the history of something. So he did like the history of Superman. Then he also talked about Batman. So it's kind of nerdy shit, but this one wasn't so nerdy as much as it was more about culture shit. So it was about Adult Swim and the history behind Adult Swim, and it was just cool. It was like actually pretty inspirational, because the way Adult Swim started was like this little experimental, like experimental programming, they called it, or they called it alternate programming, but it was basically where they put it on Cartoon Network. So Cartoon Network was like for little kids or whatever, and then when that demographic went asleep, like they put Adult Swim on, and it started off as kind of like this place where they put like these rejected TV shows. So there was like this, I think they called it Space Ghost. There was this cartoon called Space Ghost, and it was like kind of, it had its run, and then it kind of like died out, but Adult Swim brought it back, and they did it in a different way where space shows suddenly became all popular again, and they kept doing that with shows like Family Guy was brought back on Adult Swim, and then it blew up, and then they did it with Futurama. So it was just cool and like inspirational to see how Adult Swim came up. And then if you guys didn't know, Adult Swim also like puts just artists on there, man, and it's cool because they engage with their audience, and they promote artists on there. I didn't know that, but Flying Lotus. Like Flying Lotus first came on Adult Swim. Like he sent Adult Swim beats, and they put his beats on their like commercials and shit. And it was just super dope because I feel like Adult Swim is kind of like this alternate programming where like these creative ass kids can create like their own original programming, and then if Adult Swim likes it, they'll actually put that animation or that weird programming onto their I don't know if I want to say a channel, but they'll put it onto their little network or whatever. And like the Odd Future guys, they went on Adult Swim too before like anyone really knew about them. So it's just cool. Like Adult Swim is this place where I feel like artists can go and shit and like really express themselves. And then KaptainKristian, he's also fucking cool, man. I don't know. I was just watching it yesterday, and I just got really inspired to like create again and stuff like that, and make videos myself, and like just improve on my editing skills. So it was just tight, and I think anyone who's like looking for minor inspiration, I think you should definitely go check out that Adult Swim video. Maybe it's not everyone's taste, but I can definitely see what Adult Swim is trying to do, and I think they've actually thrived because of their like little different style of doing things.
Yeah.
So that's all I had to say. That was my little diatribe. So as far as that goes, we do apologize that we didn't discuss any books this week, guys. Like I said, I was very busy this past week. David's just a slacker. But next week we'll definitely talk about books. We'll be reverting back to the original format, just in case any of you guys missed that. But one more time, my name is Jesus.
This is the Young D.
And for all articles that we talked about on today's podcast, we will one more time be posting it on the Level X Twitter account of LevelXPodcast. And make sure to go follow us on our Vincent Studios Instagram page as well for any additional news throughout the week that we found interesting. Thank you guys so much for everyone who consistently listens to this podcast on a weekly basis. For all the people on SoundCloud, all the people on YouTube, even the people on iTunes, even though we don't necessarily know how many of you guys listen to us on iTunes. We greatly appreciate all the support. Definitely, if you ever have the time, leave a review on iTunes. Leave a comment on YouTube. Give us a heart on SoundCloud if you enjoy the content you're listening to. And also email us. We're definitely always interested to conversate with any of you who do listen on a weekly basis and who have any questions or just want to suggest any articles that we talk about. Definitely email us, lvlxpodcast@gmail.com. Anything else you got to say, David, before we go?
Nah, man, I just want to say thanks as well to all the people that support us. But besides that, next week is going to be a mind-blowing podcast.
And for the tip of the week, learn how to cook. Learn how to cook. We will see you guys next week.